All right, so now we're in the interview portion of the show. We're joined by NFL Network's Kyle Brandt. Kyle, I got to tell you, before doing too much of a dick suck here, I love your show. I followed you on Rome, whole real world, everything. I'm a huge fan, so I'm really happy to have you. Thanks for joining.
I'm thrilled to be here. Let me reciprocate with that gesture. Listen, guys, I know some of your material really well. I remember, Carl, when the Cody Parkey thing happened. That video, dude, so many people sent that to me. So many people tweeted that to me. That is still the Rembrandt of 21st century Bears angst.
I appreciate that very much. That's from a professional of your standing, that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Sure. And Eddie, I remember when it was the Khalil Mack debut game, it was Bears-Packers at Lambeau. That was that crazy comeback where Rodgers got hurt and left. I remember reading the blog. You did a halftime, Bears are back! And then, like, after the game, you're like, yeah, what can I say? We had some bad snap, and Rodgers fucking kills us every time. It was a classic.
Slept in a forest preserve.
Mask, sad mask.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It was pure emotion, man. That was like, and it's sad because you look at that, and it's like that was such a different time with, like, basically the same team. So
that was, like, the most exciting Bears loss of all time. But it's the emotion, especially as we go into the draft. I don't know. You guys deal with this because you represent the Bears and people stop you on the street or they tweet you and they want you to talk about the Bears. Like I go on whatever show brings you on, some radio show and hey, you're a Chicago born and raised. Tell us about these Bears. And you want to be like unbelievably enthusiastic and positive and constructive. Like, let's go. It's hard. I'm on suicide watch every time I talk about them. And I don't like to talk that way. But especially last year in the middle of that season, when let's say it's like, week 10, tell us about your Bears. I'm like, they suck. Their quarterbacks are terrible. Their offense is terrible. Dude. And I don't like doing that, but I'm not going to go on and be like, well, they're building stuff. I just have to be honest, and it's been tough.
Dude, it's funny you should say that because I was actually thinking about this within the last couple of months and how I'm kind of struggling right now because we all grew up with the radio stations and we'd always get so mad when they were always so negative, you know? Yeah. And now you cover the team long enough and you realize that you're turning into that, but there's nothing else you could do, right? Like you said, you have to be honest, and I'm so down on this team, and that's maybe a good spot to start. Like, what's your meter at? Like, where are you at currently?
Well, I mean, we'll just call it D-Day, and the D stands for Dalton. All right? That was a weird day because everyone, it's if you cover the Bears like you guys do and like I do in my own way, they're like, yo, what's your take? Let's hear it. Andy Dalton. And that's exactly to the core of what you're saying. How in the hell am I supposed to get in any sort of platform and be like, I think we can win with Dalton. I like it. We can, like, that's bullshit. I'm not going to do that. And so I tried to just get inside the heads of Bears fans that day and try to spread that on my platform. So you go on the show in Good Morning Football and they say, all right, KB, what do you think? And I'm like, you guys have to understand, Bears quarterback is a really sensitive nerve for Chicago sports fans. Like it really is. Like there are people in Chicago, people, my dad, my uncles, my cousins, who they're now starting to play the card that Red Sox fans used to play where it's like, I think I'm going to die before I see a good Bears quarterback. Like, I'm not going to be on this planet and I don't want to leave Earth before I see one, but give me one reason to make me think that I'm going to have a great quarterback. You know what I want just one time? I want a Bears team where we're like, man, this quarterback's amazing. If only we can get some defense around him and some pieces around him. Too bad we lost 46-42, but this quarterback's great. It's never that. And I don't think it's ever going to be that. So where's my meter right now? It's really fucking low. I mean, it's not good.
Same.
It's draft week, I guess, but it's like we painted ourselves into the corner with this pick. I like to do backflips and get excited about some guy named Kadarius Toney as much as the next of you. Is that guy going to get us past the Packers? I don't know. I'm trying to be positive, but here I am again, Eddie, being the asshole negative guy that we wanted to not be when we were kids.
Well, I mean, we opened the interview. You're talking about the Packers loss, the Cody Parkey game, and then you're hoping your wildest dreams are to lose 45-42. Like, that would be great.
Awesome.
That would be an improvement. So it's
Wouldn't
just like,
that be
yeah, it would be fun. And you're right. Like, this number 20 pick, it's like, I don't know. Who cares? Like, who cares?
I don't know either. Yeah. And you know what? Like, here's my, I'll try to share some, I don't know, like some sort of inside info with the listener. So I know Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace a little bit, and I love them as people. Like, they are so unbelievably outgoing, friendly, supportive, positive, constructive. Like, they're really, really great dudes. I mean that. Like, I've been in Matt Nagy's office in Hallis Hall, and he brought me in, he sat me down, and he does this cool thing where he sits down to talk to you, and he lights a candle on his desk. Like, I don't know if it's like to make good vibes or like to freshen the air or whatever, but it's like, dude, let's light a candle. Let's chop it up. He's like, he's a guy. He's a normal guy. He's not one of these like Belichick weirdos. He's not one of these like McVay maniacs. He's a normal, cool family guy who lives in the suburbs of Chicago and fits right in. I root for him. Pace the same way. I know Pace comes across as like super slick and he gets his lift in and his hair's perfect. Family man, really nice wife, really nice. I love these guys. Like, I would like to be friends with them in my personal life. So it's so hard again to be like, what are they doing? Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, but the results are not there. I love them as people, but damn, they've had a tough run is what they do.
Now, what about bumping it up to McCaskey and kind of the senior leadership level? Are you tarnished in your position? You have such exposure across the league to know in depth what each team's going on, and you can speak to culture within each organization. Like, how does that prepare you to talk about the Bears when you think about how bad McCaskey's been in some respects?
I don't know. I know that's a popular lament, sell the team. I don't feel that way. I mean, the Bears were in a title game with Jay Cutler as their quarterback. I don't think that's a lot to do with management. I think they make some bad personnel decisions. If they had decided to choose Patrick Mahomes instead of Trubisky, like, then they have a dynasty. I don't think that's ownership. I really don't. So I'm not one of those people who sits around and kicks at the McCaskeys and that if they sold the team and they have the same players. I don't think they makes their quarterback any better. That's not my thing. And all they've done, like, dude, that new facility they have is unbelievable. Like, it's the nicest one in the NFL. It's like that and the Cowboys. Like, I'll take that all day. I just want better players.
The thing is too, and you said you're friendly with Pace and Nagy, but I know you're probably friendly with management of other teams as well, or just even around the buzz around like the building at NFL. What's like the general consensus there? Is it always like looking at you like, yo, what the fuck are your guys doing?
Like, are you okay?
Yeah, like, is it, because that's a thing, right?
Well, I think last year was a mess because it was like, it's Mitch. Like, we believe in Mitch. And then, bam, like, rip him off the field 20 minutes into the season. And then it's Nick Foles, who, like, is a great guy, but I don't think he was any savior. And he's not a Chicago Bear. He was just some guy that they paid, that they brought in. And, like, so I look at the Nagy thing as you get to choose two quarterbacks. That's it. And then you're out. Like, this thing, what Kyle Shanahan has going right now with the Niners. Kyle Shanahan picked Jimmy Garoppolo. That is his dude. He's probably going to pick this guy, Mac Jones, now number 3. If that doesn't work out, you're out of here. You get two choices as an offensive guru. So if you look at Nagy, like, Mitch Trubisky was the step kid. He married into that. That's not his son. Like, John Fox drafted Mitch Trubisky, and Nagy married into it. That's fine. Didn't work out. But he picked Foles. He brought in Foles, and he paid him, and it was a disaster. So I guess he's going to pick another guy, and he's picking Dalton. Like, that's your 2, and that's out. So to answer your question, dude, like, think about how we're chasing our tail even having this conversation as spectators. Imagine the players and the linemen and Allen Robinson being like, who the hell is my quarterback? It's just lack of identity. And man, and meanwhile, we have to beat Rodgers twice a year, and we never do.
Yeah. How many quarterbacks does a GM get to pick? Because I think we're on 5 for Pace.
See, what a great follow. The Pace thing, you're right. It's a lot. And we have Glennon, and we have Trubisky, and we have Foles, and we have Dalton. Am I forgetting anybody?
And they'll probably draft somebody.
There wasn't a Chase Daniel era, but he had a couple
stars. You're right.
And wasn't Fox and Nagy, was that Cutler's last year? Or I'm sorry, Fox and Pace Cutler's last year?
I think.
Well, Fox definitely coached Cutler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
a lot.
Yeah.
And then let me ask you guys. I'm sure you've been chewing on this nonstop. Do you think the Bears are going to draft a quarterback in this draft? And are they going to do it in the first round? Because I can't get there.
I can't imagine they draft one in the first round.
I can imagine anything with these guys. I could imagine anything.
I said that they came because I don't think Dalton's necessarily their guys much, because you're saying, I agree with you, you get 2 choices, and Dalton to me was the last name on the list. And so I think Nagy and Pace are aware that they actually do need to make a move to put a stamp on this. So I would I can see something stupid. We were joking earlier, like Kellen Mond and Kyle Trask, but like that's not crazy to me.
But that's what Chief brought it up the other show a couple weeks ago, where he could have had Dalton last season if he wanted it as his option, but he picked Foles. So now he's like he's getting 3, Kyle. It's like he's like where he could have had the other one as his number 2.
Free.
So I know it's crazy.
I know. You know what it is though? Like, we've reached the point with Bears quarterbacks in the draft where we're at the nuclear option, which is this. So I went on the air a few years. Remember when the Baker Mayfield draft, the Browns, it was crazy. The Browns had the 1 pick and the 4. which is almost unheard of. And they took Baker Mayfield and they took the corner, Denzel Ward. And this is after, 25 years of Browns quarterbacks sucking. They can't draft anyone. I was screaming on the NFL Network to say, screw it. Draft a quarterback at 1 and 4. Just hedge your bet. Draft 2 quarterbacks. And what are the odds of these guys working out? 50-50, right? If you draft 2, it's a much better chance that you'll work out. So now I'm at the point with the Bears where I'm like, you know what? Like, just draft 4 quarterbacks. I don't care. Just draft 4, draft 5, spend every draft pick on a quarterback, have 8 in the room, and isn't there a pretty good probability that we can get like a Pro Bowl backup out of one of those? Why not? That's my nuclear option.
Mitch did it. That would be funny if your entire practice squad was just quarterbacks. Like you're allowed 8 guys. You got Ian Book, Mond, Trask, all those guys from this draft. That would be. They would all suck too, but
I know, of course they would. Yeah. 0 for 8, but it's worth a try. That's my option.
It'd be funny. I'd rather have 8 quarterbacks and 11 tight ends. So let's do that. I would like to take a quarterback.
In the first round?
No, like 4th, 5th round. Like literally like Kellen Mond and
so there's guys like there's these guys who are lingering past the household names. You mentioned Mond or Trask. There's this guy that my coworker, Peter Schrager, obsesses over. Have you guys read about Davis Mills from Stanford?
The Stanford kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he sounds like he's a made-up player, but he really does exist. He was the #1 high school recruit coming out. One of those things, like he was the Jimmy Clausen
like
or
that.
Mitch Mustaine. He was that.
I like
a
that.
couple times. Remember those guys? And then like Dan Kendra way back in the day. He's one of those.
Yep.
So people are saying, I think he played like 7 games or something in all of his college career, but they're saying, look, this guy could sneak into the first round. The Bucs could take him at 32. I'm like, seriously, it's a real person. And if it is, by the way, I'm completely horny for him. I'm interested for the Bears. Yeah. Take him. Who's Davis Mills? Maybe this is the guy.
Who is
one of the 8?
Who was the guy when you were in high school? Was that Brett Bazinet or what? Where'd you go to high school? Remember everyone's got like that.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right. Can we do a roundup, by the way? I went to Stevenson. I'm a Stevenson Patriot, Lincolnshire, Illinois. 2 NFL connections to Stevenson, 1 good, 1 bad. First one being Rex and Rob Ryan went to Stevenson. The other NFL connection being Ron Goldman went to Stevenson. Terrible connection to the NFL, but he was a Stevenson Patriot. What about you guys?
I went to Brother. Shocker for this high school or for this podcast for me to say it. I talk about it way too much, but I went to Brother Rice, and the NFL connection from your era would be Dave Deal was like our big left tackle.
Sure. Yeah, the Crusaders, right?
Yes. Oh God, talk dirty to me, please.
Yeah, St. Charles North, the North Stars. So we don't have we have one kid was like a left tackle who went to UCF. He played for the Panthers for like 4 years, but that's it. But I like going back to what you were saying, like the Brett Bazinet. I remember my buddy in like 7th or 8th grade when they signed Cordell Stewart, like hanging the newspaper in his locker, be like, we found him. Like we found the guy. Everybody like we go through this cycle seemingly forever. And if it's Cutler or Cordell or whatever, it's just
No, that's
the
Cordell
year
funny.
is a forgotten year. Like that was the strangest and now that's young prime Urlacher.
Yep.
And they're building this crazy defense, and they're like, we got it. It's going to be slashed. Cordell's going to work. And then he started the season. I don't think he lasted even a handful of games.
Yeah.
It was a tough year.
Really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone you really like? Like, is there any quarterback that you're like a little excited about?
You're talking about historically or in the draft?
In the draft.
Okay.
Don't get me started on Cade McNown. I love him. I'm very excited about him out of UCLA. He's a great guy. No, I like Curtis Enos a lot. I had a number 39 Curtis Enos jersey. No, the sneaky one that paying attention is the Davis Mills quarterback from Stanford, who's completely likely. And other than that, like, outside of quarterbacks, just get somebody who's a goddamn playmaker. Like Allen Robinson, I think, is the best player on the team, but he's not exactly like electric after the catch. That's why everyone's talking about this Kellen Mond or what's his name? Not Kellen Mond, the dude from Florida.
Trash.
Tony. Everyone's like, he's great, and he does look really good on film, but that's just that, like, okay, so we spent a first-round pick on this alleged playmaker. Is that getting us over the hump? Like, probably not. I actually don't mind them taking a corner in the first because it killed me when Kyle Fuller left. He was one of my favorite players on the last year's team that did not have a good one. So I almost would rather they go corner because – and honestly, I'll give you my other option. I was just reading this thing. So Schrager and Schefter are tweeting about this thing right now where teams are, like, trading back like crazy because – they can't evaluate the prospects medically. Like the combine didn't happen. So they're not getting access to these guys' knees and shoulders. And so they're freaking out and saying like, you know what? Like, we're going to trade back and just have first round, second round picks next year when we're safe. We're not going to take the risk this year. This could be like bust central. So I look at that at the Bears and I'm like, you're in this no man's land pick. You're going to get a pretty decent player. Are you winning the NFC this year? No. Maybe just trade the hell back and some sucker who wants to move up from the back, and then we'll deal with this in 2022.
But
maybe with the new coach.
That's what's hard is because we are the suckers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Everybody that's like, we should trade back, their first call is Ryan Pace.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's trade back. Call Ryan Pace. See what we can get out of
hard
that guy.
not to be pessimistic.
Yeah, but and the other thing is, if you say, there's going to be some bust early in the draft, like that also means there's going to be some fucking great sleepers there for the Bears. So, not to be a complete sucker, but I hear that, when you hear bust, it's not too crazy to think maybe we can get somebody then.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Ryan Pace, late round gangster.
Yeah, he is good in the late rounds.
Yep.
There's your T-shirt, the late round gangster.
People are dying to buy a Ryan Pace T-shirt right now. Let me tell you, Kyle. Those just fly off the shelves. But no, man. You know what? I can I give you another crazy thought I had this past weekend?
Yeah, what do you got?
And tell me if I'm not crazy or not. Okay, so I haven't. Have you been following the Jeopardy thing closely? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers is going to retire to do Jeopardy full time.
Is that crazy?
Really?
Think about this. Okay, think about this. Is there a better, more retireable job than the fucking host of Jeopardy? Mm-hmm. That's an incredible connection.
Yeah. People seem to like him doing it too.
So you think he's got you think this is his window though, that he couldn't come back 3 years from now and do it?
I think you got to think hard about it. Yeah, think about it. Someone else
He's
gets
getting married now.
Yes, I don't think it's that crazy.
No, Eddie, listen.
Yes,
it is. I'm going to brag. He was on Good Morning Football a few weeks ago, and I asked him that directly because I think you're onto something. He's in this whole thing where he's changing his life. He's removing negative things from his life. He's engaged. He's like doing all these interesting businesses, philanthropy, a lot of it through Barstool. And I said, dude, is it out of question to think that maybe you might make the ultimate life change? Say, I have nothing left to prove in the NFL. I'm going to host Jeopardy for the next 20 years, make a bunch of money, live in California. Why do I need to get hit and work for a team that doesn't support me? Is that out of the question? And he laughed and said, it's not out of the question, but he didn't disregard it. He said, listen, I still love football and I've still got some football to play, but I don't think it's totally out of the question.
Dude, we're not talking about going to a booth in Fox or CB. Like, we're talking about a fucking real blue blood job.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate you pushing him towards that, too. Like, plant that seed. Plant it.
Here's the thing. I wonder how you guys are, because Rodgers, over the last 6 months, he's really locked arms with Barstool in a lot of ways, and he speaks so well of you and of Dave, and he goes online, he does these things. Is that like nails on the chalkboard as Bears enthusiasts, or like how do you deal with that?
It's hard, man. Obviously, the Barstool fun, and Dave fed us all to the wolves for Aaron Rodgers, which I guess I understand.
Yeah,
I think he might be going to the Derby with him this weekend. But regardless, you could separate. Same thing how you separate Nagy and Pace from their jobs. You could separate. He seems like a good dude.
I was much happier hating him. Like, I'm in this state where I'm confused. I prefer the old. Like, I wish he would have done that anonymously. That would have been nice. It would have been more considerate to me, who enjoys hating him. Yeah.
The thing that drives Bears fans crazy, though, and I've told him this too, when he gets into his spiel about like, I love playing the Bears in Soldier Field. Such a great tradition there and such a great atmosphere. I love playing there. It's like, well, yeah, I love going to a day spa too. It's wonderfully relaxing. Of course, you love Soldier Field. You practically own the place. And he's like, he's always like, we've had some great battles over the years. I'm like, I don't really remember many of those, Aaron. In fact, mostly you kick the shit out of the Bears every time you play. What great battles are you referring to? But he plays it so nicely, and he's such a gentleman. But he's
doing that on purpose too.
Yeah, I think I would hate it. I would hate him more if there were a lot of these 10-6 teams that Aaron Rodgers ripped our fucking hearts out. But there's just our history is littered of like 7-9 with double-digit losses to Aaron Rodgers. So. Yeah, of course there's the hate and the sting, but there is that respect level because like we're not even good enough historically to even have a chance against them.
I know. The postcard for me of the Jay Cutler era, it's not him doing the smoking or looking on the sideline like he doesn't care. I feel like it's after every time they'd play the Packers, you lose by anywhere between 10 and 30 points, Cutler threw a couple picks, and 10 seconds after the game was over, he's always out there with Rodgers laughing and smiling and hugging and like, I know they're boys. As a fan, they used to drive me crazy that I just wanted a little bit of red ass from Cutler, but I was like they were best friends. That's the postcard. Rodgers wins by 30. Cutler yucks it up after the game.
Fuck, man.
That's tough.
Yeah. You're not.
Tough.
It really is tough. That's I mean,
Davis Mills will never do that when he's the Bears quarterback.
Yeah.
He will always want to fight Rodgers.
Can we get a best case scenario from you for Bears next year?
Sure. Yeah. Best case scenario for the Bears this next year is they draft a quarterback in the first round, and it's Justin Fields. Now, here's the thing. It may not be Justin Fields. I don't know if he falls that far. But the guy who might fall, and again, I talk about Peter Schrager all the time, and let me tell you why Peter Schrager is the best in the game. Because he doesn't look at the mock draft and say, I've been watching 50,000 hours of tape, and this is what they should do. His whole mock and all his projections are just based on calls and texts and asking these teams what they're doing. It's not what he thinks they should do. It's what he thinks they will do. And his whole take is, if this thing with Mac Jones and the Niners doesn't happen and they decide to take Trey Lance or whatever, he's like, Mac Jones could fall really, really far because Shanahan likes him as a specialty guy, but otherwise there's not a lot of love in the room for Jones. So someone like Jones or someone like Fields, who I think just for some reason has this stink on him that the draft won't fall in love with, the best case scenario is one of them falls to the Bears, they draft him in the first round, and he can play. And all of a sudden then the defense is better, and best case scenario with a new quarterback who gets on the field halfway through the season, they finish, 10-7 and are in the playoffs for third time in 4 years. Is it better than that?
And round we go because then Pace and Nagy are back and we're right back in the same spot forever. Yeah.
Mid-round pick next year. Yeah. No, nothing special. Would you rather have like the 2-15 season and just like scorched earth to clean house?
I'm ready.
It sounds a lot better than some indestructible time loop of 10-7.
Yeah.
I know. But a lot of teams would kill to be 10-7. It's a really good record.
I know, but then a lot of all of us were ready to jump out of a window after that Saints Nickelodeon game. So
that game didn't happen. I think that was like an acid trip fever dream. Are you telling me that was actually a playoff game?
Right?
Bears
Yeah, it's like
is that the strangest game ever played?
Yeah, it's like Jordan never played for the Wizards either.
Just something.
Yeah. Some things just never happen.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I don't think it happened. But you're right. Like, I wish I could tell you guys, no, they're screwed. Or, yeah, they could win the Super Bowl. It's that it used to be 10-6. At least it's new now. At least it's 10-7.
Yeah. I will say, though, you've talked me into Davis Mills. So I don't want Mac. I want no part of Mac Jones. I want no part of Mac Jones at 20 or a quarterback at 20. Take somebody who can play, like you said, a corner. Davis Mills at 52. Yeah, I might get a little tingly for that.
You're into Davis Mills.
66% completion percentage.
Yeah. Is it mentioning Jimmy Clausen's name that sold you? Because that's a hell of a recommendation.
I mean, I am like the Notre Dame guy. He does have those 4 high school state championships that I'm still being like, wow, if he gets a real shot, he'll make it.
Yeah, they're saying he's Rick Meyer reincarnate. That's what they're saying.
I love Rick Meyer too. I love Rick Meyer too.
He's our worst quarterback guy, Kyle. He's our worst quarterback guy. He still thinks Connor Shaw is going to be.
Connor Shaw just needed a chance.
So I don't know.
I still stand for Moses Moreno.
There you go.
There you go. Anything else, guys? Kyle, thanks a ton, man.
Dude, we kept it sort of positive. I tried to go positive at 10-7. You guys like, no, kill him, lose every game. None of that around here. We'll see what happens Thursday night. I honestly, I've followed you guys for years. I know what you're all about. Thank you very much for having me. And God willing, bear down.
Yeah, great. Hey, thank you so much. And when you're in Chicago, you got to stop by the new office.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Where are you guys?
We're in Ukrainian Village. Now we're moving to like Wrigleyville. So
all right, cool. So we can take a walk over by the old Real World house and go down memory lane.
That would be awesome. Great. I would love that.
Be sick.
Yeah,
we're very down for that.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Thanks a lot,
dude.
Kyle.
Good luck.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Kyle.